Welcome to Doc's Music Theory Lab. I opened up this Facebook page and this YouTube channel to present ideas related to music theory and to discuss them and to help with individuals who are having issues with their music theory. I basically opened up both of these channels and pages because of the complexities that I ran into when I was studying music and how simple it actually is, and how complex the study actually was. And in some of the posts and in some of the videos, I hope to address those issues so that you don't run into the same problems I had. I am studying audio engineering right now, so you'll kind of have to bear with me on that until I actually have time to put a lot of things on these channels. But the actual YouTube channel, Doc's Lab, and the Facebook page are directly related to this, because when I got done with my studies of music, that I actually started studying audio engineering, because actually the composition can be very much directly related to the actual recording, mixing, and mastering to make a better composition that works well together. And that is something that I hadn't even thought about while I was actually studying music theory until I started actually recording it, mixing it, and mastering it, and that became a huge issue. So I thought, well, that is actually part of music theory, a huge part of it that I didn't understand until I started studying it. But this page basically is here, and this channel is here to address some simple issues so it doesn't get so complex that you need to go to school for 10 years to understand music theory. The basics, the notes on your instrument, the scales, the notes associated with the scales, how they, the different modes that are associated with each scale, and how you can use them differently. The harmonies that are associated with any scale, chords that can be played in key or in certain scales, and how you can put them together, and the different harmonies that can be associated. When you can use a borrowed chord, meaning a chord or a harmony that's not part of the actual scale structure. There is no set way to do that, and there are lots of different ways to look at that, and that can very much be genre related or era related, as far as at what point the actual growth of music theory was at in certain points of time can be very much directly related to what was dissonant that that they didn't want, and consonant that they figured was acceptable to use in your music theory and composition. And so I hope to address some of those issues so that as you're composing and learning the basics, that you don't get lost in the complexities. Sometimes things can get very complex, and there are times that when you're doing a very large symphonic composition or something like that, that it can be one note at a time sometimes, when you've got 60, 70, 80, 100 instruments, that you're having to make the tonal qualities complementary throughout the entire production, and for each step of the composition, it can be very complex and very time consuming to actually create something that is consonant and sounds good to your ears, which it's always going to boil down to if you're creating to be artistic, you're going to be creating to what sounds good to your ears. Music theory a lot of times can get browsed over and brushed over to look at for direction, so you don't get lost in the composition, but a lot of times it can get set off to the side and you're just trying to hear what sounds good. What if you've got a chordal structure, a harmony structure, where's that going to go? Is it going to go from the fifth? Is it going to flow forward from the fifth, or from the third, or from the seventh in that chord? Or and you're going to go down or up, or where are you going? Are you going to modulate? Are you going to change keys, or actually change into a different mode that possibly might be in the same key, or it might be some type of modulation? Those type of things can sound very complex, but they're actually very simple. And I'm hoping that in this page and on this YouTube channel that I try to keep it as simple as possible so that you can create and not get lost in the theory, you know, that you understand basic concepts and how to put those basic concepts together for larger complexities, but that those larger complexities have simple basic structures that they're woven from, like a net, that, you know, that every component of it is a basic structure that has a basic structure in itself that's woven together with the rest of the composition. So the composition isn't a complexity that's so difficult to understand when you can go and look at the basic components as less complex structures to weave a more complex structure, and not get lost in that and not lose the artistic part of it in the theoretical part of it, because the theory is to help you be more artistic. When the theory stops helping you be more artistic and it starts making you more robotic rather than artistic, it's time to scoop the theory off to the side and really look at yourself and the artistic creation of your ears. What sounds good to you? And all that theory is supposed to be helping you when you get stuck in composition and things like that, so that you don't, you know, those things and the theoretical foundations and structures are to be able to help you move forward when you get to places like that in your artistic creations. And sometimes it can be the other way also. Sometimes you might be creating and somebody wants something thrown together, and you have some theoretical knowledge that you can just bam, 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 stamp something together for them, and it might be pretty generic, but you know pretty well musically it's going to work and be okay. I know that sounds, you know, to anybody artistic, they're going to frown upon that, but that can be true sometimes. And, you know, especially in different types of genres and things that are, you know, what's going on today in the music industry and in the genre you're working at, and understand the theory of what's happening that and how they're put together can be very helpful for you working in those, if you're working to sell music, you know, and understanding what's going on with what is selling and how to decompose it and analyze the structure to actually produce that kind of stuff, if you're looking to do that. And it can be very helpful in your compositions also. So I hope that I didn't make it too complex, this welcoming video. It's just to kind of address those issues. And the channel and the Facebook page, you can contact me anytime you want and message me with a question you might have about something you're doing, or theory related to your composition, or compositioning things, techniques for composing. Any kind of questions like that. As I get done with my audio engineering, a lot of videos I'll be putting on, and I also have a book on music theory. About the only thing you might run into an issue on this page and on this YouTube channel is that I relate theory a lot of times to the guitar. I learned all my theory on the guitar, learned classical music, and you know, that was my love. My artistic love was to the guitar, so I learned my theory from the perspective of the guitar, which once you start to understand some of the theory and the basics, that you should be able to relate that to any instrument that you're working with. And if you have difficulties, you're more than welcome to ask me, and I'll even make a video for you, because the theory will relate to any instrument you're using. This is theory dealing with Western type of instruments and Western music. So, you know, I mean, you know, if you've got some not abstract instrument, but an instrument that may not be associated with, you know, the theory of Western society, that you might not be the page for you to just study music theory. But the basic concepts can be the same, and you can relate that to just about any type of music. The scales, the actual, there's only so many frequencies, and there's only so many ways to put them together to create music theory. So that's a fundamental, you know, truth that you can't change no matter what society that you're, you know, playing music in or studying theory. So I welcome you to the channel, and I hope that you get some discussions started, and I hope that it's someplace you can go and talk with people and get some answers and talk about concepts that might be you know, something new, and share it with other people so that we can all learn and grow in our knowledge and working fundamentals and complexities as far as music theory is concerned. And also the artistic creations also. This channel is very much open to that, as long as you don't take a stance where that, you know, it's artistic or it's theoretical and that's where it's at, because I will not take a stance with that, because there are times I pick up my guitar or the piano and it ain't got nothing to do with music theory, no way. I just start playing around trying to see what sounds good, and I use the music theory as a tool, my tool belt, when I'm having issues, and that can be very true. Sometimes the key and the hope in this channel is that when you're understanding that, is you can understand the concept of that theory and that artistic, you know, raw, you know, feelings and intuitions, that how they can go together to help you to be a better composer and to be more fluent and flowing in your compositions and your understanding of what's happening when you're listening to other types of music and or creating different types of music. And that's my hope. And also that I really hope that you take some time to look at the YouTube channel Doc's Lab for audio engineering and related concepts and theories, because I found that it's very much related when you start composing of what kind of, you know, frequency area is some instrument going to be in, to be very complementary to what's going on in the stereo field, and all kinds of cool concepts that basically can sometimes really change the way you compose, because the studio, the recording, and the mixing, those areas and all the stuff that you can do in that are huge creative tools, that if you're actually using those tools with your music theory and your raw, you know, intuition and feelings, that those are huge tools also to help you compose and create. They're huge tools, because sometimes it might completely change how you compose something. You might decide to do some panning thing, or God knows what you might want to do, all kinds of stuff, but it can sometimes change completely how you've composed the song, and you might change a whole lot of aspects of the song that you're writing, because of ideas that are related more to audio engineering and composition and putting things on, you know, recording things, and the tools that are available there to help, you know, enhance the composition and the creation that you're working with, because they very much are just like the other thing. You've got your intuition and feelings, and you've got your theory, and then you've got also the tools that in the mixing and in the recording industry, and those tools for actually recording it, that all those things can come together to completely change how you actually compose, you know, and to help your creations become that much better and much more well thought through for a finished product and the audience that you're targeting. So that's basically the hope by you coming to these channels and the related channel there for audio engineering and recording, mixing, and mastering. And I certainly hope that you get some help in these pages, and I hope that you can come here and talk about things you're doing and share things you're doing or songs you're working on, and get some feedback, and that it makes that your composing and your theoretical journey a much more enjoyable thing. So I hope that's very helpful. I hope I made that very simple and not too complex, and welcome to Doc's Musical Theory Lab. Peace, hope, love.